mother was an orphan, and I never knew anything about her family.
My Aunt Mildred did genealogy for something like 70 years of her life.
My mother was from Alabama. Her grandmother was a former slave. I want my grandchildren to take some type of pride in who they are and where they come from.
Very interested in finding out more about my ancestry, because there's very little that I really know.
Mom's one of 13 kids. Her mom died when she was maybe a year old, so they all got split up and sent to different either relatives or foster homes and that sort of thing. And my mom's 74. My dad was one of 7, and he's 76. And you know, there's not a lot of oral history around outside of maybe 2 generations on both sides of my family.
Pretty sure I know my father's side, but my mother was an orphan, and I never knew anything about her family. So I'm really anxious to see. And from what I could tell, from what I could find out, her family has been here a lot more generations, where my father's side, he was the first person from that side of the family to be born in America.
The unfortunate legacy of slavery, you know, it's not always as easy to clearly trace back your ancestry.
We might not know the names of the people that came. We can't reclaim all of the history that's been lost, but being able to reclaim some of that cultural identity, that can come from the Ancestry DNA test.
Okay.
Giving you specific regions in Africa where your ancestors came from.
My dad is 84 years old. My dad is from, I want to say, Jackson, Mississippi. That's as far as he knows. So I would love to be able to say, well, Dad, you know, I think we can pinpoint some areas where you have some questions about, and maybe we could do a little bit further research.
I would highly recommend getting your dad tested. If you look at your DNA, it's just, this is what you are. These are the different things that you came from. And your DNA doesn't come, you know, pink and blue color coded.
Right.
And so just by itself, you don't know what came from mom and what came from dad. But if you have one of your parents tested, then you can say, this piece came from him and this piece came from him. And these remaining pieces came from my mom. Having the oldest generation of your family tested helps, in a way, preserve that history for future generations.
Wow.
Because, you know, every time a generation is born, 50% of that DNA is passed on, but 50% of that DNA is lost.
Right, that
And so
makes
the
sense.
further back you go, the more complete picture you get about, you know, who you are and where you came from.
This is something that it's new to me, trying to understand it, because when you think of DNA, you know, when people use it in crime and yeah, but not finding your roots or your ancestries and where you're coming from, it's amazing.
I like to describe it as every time a baby is born, a deck of cards is shuffled and cut. So you get 50% of mom and 50% of dad's DNA, but every child's combination is different. The only way 2 people can share the exact same DNA is if they are identical twins. The ethnicity portion will tell you ethnically, from the pieces that you've inherited from your parents, where in the world, racially and culturally, the things that make you've inherited. So we look at the more than 2 million people that have taken the test and compare your DNA with them. And based on the amount of DNA you share, we know these are siblings. These are first cousins, second cousins, third cousins.
Well, I think that I'm mostly German, North European, some English, Scotch, Irish, maybe a little bit of French.
I have been told that my father's father was from the Mayas Indian in Honduras, so I would like to know, a little bit about it. He died when I was like 4.
Arabic, Spanish, but I think there's more diversity in the Arabic ways because I have some relatives that are a little darker than my grandfather.
My maiden name is Kirkpatrick, and I had an uncle trace all the way back to William Wallace, so we know we're Scottish. On my mother's side, I know my grandparents were 100% Czechoslovakian, so I think I'm 50% Czechoslovakian and Scottish.
My grandfather he was Filipino. My great-grandfather was from Germany, also Native American, also Caucasian on my dad's side. It's really a mix, and African.
A lot of my ancestors came in the past century from both Italy and from Ireland. Some were here, I'm told, since the 1700s.
My dad's family was from Cefalù, Sicily, and we're Sicilian, not Italian.
I've been told that there's some Indian in my blood. And when I meet people from some of the African countries, they say, I have the look of someone from Kenya or Liberia, and I'm just looking to find that whether or not there's some royalty there somewhere. I just believe it is.
What I anticipate is what I probably already became aware of through family reunions. I'm looking more for confirmation about stuff we don't know and who we are part of, what's our lineage, so to speak.
My father is a die-hard Creole. All of his ancestors that we know of, which the lineage does not go back very far, are from New Orleans and from the 7th Ward of the Treme area. My mother was from Alabama, and her grandmother was a former slave. As far as the deep, deep roots, I'm not sure what it could possibly be. But I know royalty is in the blood.
Honestly, I don't know. The only thing I'm really positive of is I'm African American.
I think it's very important that we understand how we became who we are. And it's through work, it's through family, it's through geography. That information is not always accessible. You have to dig it up. And this is one way that I think that can help me to understand my lineage better.
So if you had to guess what percentage of your DNA is from Africa, what would you say?
50%.
50%?
Right.
95.
Wow.
That is extremely high.
Exactly. And I'm so proud. Oh, wow. That's, give myself a hand.
On average, most people of African descent in America are 75. So you are 95% African.
So
38% Benin, Togo, 24% Cameroon, 23% Ivory Coast, and then you are 5% European.
really?
3% Finland, Northwest Russia, 1% Ireland, and less than 1% Spain, Portugal.
I can live with that. Thank you for having the opportunity to have this information. It validates my sense of pride of who I am. I'm a firm believer in knowledge is power, and good conversation piece for me to share with my family. They can be proud of their heritage and know that they're almost 100% African descent.
Well, thank you, Brian.
No problem.
Wow.
Didn't think that.
You are all of Irish descent.
I do like Scotch.
Scotch.
I'm shocked. Really, I'm shocked. Learn something new every day.
I know, so now you can say "Kiss me, I'm Irish" on St. Patrick's Day. Cameroon, Congo.
Oh. Mm.
Wow. European Jewish.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I stopped checking off the boxes, a long time ago because I always felt like I was a little bit of everything. So I'm hoping for a surprise.
You are all Irish. Africa, Benin, Togo.
Have never been told that.
You all have Spanish, Portuguese DNA in common.
That's a surprise.
That is a surprise.
I've never heard that.
You all have Germany and France in common.
I had no idea. I just is way out there for me.
I knew my great-grandfather was from Germany.
I'm a little surprised I'm not on that list, because I know that my father's family came at least from North Germany. Perhaps they're a little too far separated.
Well, and maybe it just means that genetically, in the things that you inherited that make you, you didn't inherit that piece. Maybe your dad has it or one of your siblings have it, but you didn't get it.
I learned who my biological father is. It's between two different guys of different nationalities, so I suppose whoever I'm more of, that'll be my biological father.
How close to the queen?
Scandinavia. Did you think
Never in a million years. No.
Denmark, Finland, and Norway?
I'm not surprised. My mother said that her father was Caucasian and had blue eyes.
You all have Irish.
Ladder?
Yeah. You all have Ghana in common.
Oh.
Finland, Northwest Russia.
Wow. I knew that was my heritage.
But did you
My
think that
family
you would
name.
have shared that with these two
No.
ladies?
No.
You have a fifth cousin in this group.
Oh, wow.
Two of you are cousins. Yeah, Edward. Edward and our
I knew it. I knew it. He always felt like family.
Brenda and Jean. You are fifth cousins.
Oh, wow, Brenda, where have you been?
And fifth cousins, that's
Oh my
not-
God, that is,
She's like,
that's like really close. It is.
My nickname from my siblings, my sisters, they always call me International.
Scandinavia, 6% had no clue.
Scandinavian, my Scandinavian brother. Asia, 19%.
Asia, 12%. Wow.
Asian. I didn't know it was Asian.
Africa, 14%.
African, 44%.
Great Britain, 89%.
Africa, 89%.
23% Nigeria.
Native American, 46%.
Native American, 21%.
Africa, 59%. Iberian Peninsula, 11%.
Yeah,
Yep.
no doubt.
Yep.
2% Native American.
Native American, less than 1%. Wow.
See, Native American, I'm 2%.
Pacific Islander. Oh, I had no idea.
I was hoping to find out I had more diversity in my group, but I guess that what I told everybody, Irish Italian, was kind of.
I really thought there'd be a larger Native American component.
80% Eastern European. It means both of your parents held from there.
Too.
Yeah.
Nigeria, 42%.
Nigerian, 30%.
Ivory Coast, Ghana, 23%. Polynesian, 4%.
There's your surprise.
Africa, 76%.
Europe West, 11%.
37% Europe?
Wow. What a gumbo.
Explains my confusion.
Melanesia, 1%.
You're the only person I've ever seen that's had that ethnicity, and that's Papua New Guinea.
Wow.
I'm shocked. I didn't know it was that diverse.
Because you've always identified as being from the Middle East, right?
Yeah.
You're almost a quarter Native American. Has that ever been a part of your identity?
No.
I'm very surprised to know that I'm very mixed.
You're international.
Yes. Way more than I imagined.
Is that all? That's all. Well, I'm a little surprised because my understanding is the family is from North Germany. Whenever I'm asked about my ethnicity and origin, I tend to say, well, it's German. I would have expected much more German blood and much less Great Britain blood.
So the average typical native in Great Britain is 60%, and you are 89. So you are more British than the British. I think you're 20 of the 26 regions that we test.
Wow. I'm international too.
I think I know who my dad is. Yeah.
When someone asks me, like, what am I guess I'll take longer than I usually take to explain.
Out of all the regions, America is the lowest, but, you know.
Native American?
Native American, and I guess which makes sense, but, you know, we live in now in America, you know, and it's just interesting to see how my genetic connection, or many of our genetic connections are places that's not here. It's places I've never even been.
To think that we're both Irish. You know, I would never expect a white person and an African American that we could both say. That's great to me.
No, it's amazing.
It's just remarkable that at this point in time in my life, I'm getting this information.
It bonds us. As opposed to separating us, it bonds us. Knowing that your ancestors came from from the same place someone else's, did.
I feel very special that I participated, that I got a chance to have, to be part of this, because it's something that I can tell my other two daughters. They always ask, Mom, you look like this, Mom, you look like that, So little they know is that they might have some kind of this as well.
It's funny that we can look back in history and see what other nationalities have brought to this country. And the Africans built this country. and not seeing that as much played out in the history books. But to know that in all actuality, we all are one. We came from one place. You know, and when we cut, we don't bleed a nationality. The color is red.
If you know your past and you know where you came from, then you can build on that and you can have a better understanding of the foundation, where you came from. And I think a foundation and a history is very important, and that we don't forget our history and our responsibility to pass that history on to our children and our grandchildren. And I would like my children and my grandchildren to have a complete sense of who they are and where they originated from.